right, let's testify tonight.
Oh God, you've done so much for me. I'm grateful and overwhelmed here at your feet. And I could stay here forever, Lord, but you call me to something more. And I hear you say that you have a plan to use every broken woman and man to display just how good you are. We are your living pieces of art. What good does it do to hide away when all of my scars are a picture of grace? All right. So I will testify of the power of God. Tell the world of the hope I have found. You, Lord. For my body was broken, my heart was made whole, and that's too good to keep to myself. So I will testify of the power of God. Oh, do you believe it? Has He done it for anyone else? I said, has He done it for anyone else? Cause the God that I serve, He's always at work. Has He done it for anyone else? So come on and testify of the power of God. Come on and tell the world of the hope we have found. For our body was broken, our hearts were made whole, and that's too good to keep to yourself. Come on and testify of the power of God. This is my story, this is my song, praising my Savior all the day long. I'm gonna testify. Somebody testify your voice. This is my. So I'm gonna testify. Somebody testify. Come on, take it up. Jesus, my champion, the victor of grace, the only one worthy of all of my praise. Yeah. So come on and testify. Oh, somebody lift Him high. Come on, testify the power of God. I will tell the world of the hope I have found. Oh, for my body was broken, my heart was made whole, and that's too good to keep to myself. So I will testify of the power of God. Sing it. Oh, my body was broken, my heart was made whole, and that's too good to keep to myself. So I will testify of the power of God. Oh, let's do that right now, Murfreesboro.
And good afternoon, everybody. Sorry I was so late. Had to take a nap after driving. I didn't get home till like about 6 o'clock this morning. And yeah, so I'm a little tired. This heat wave has been brutal. I've been trying to get downstairs ready so I can move downstairs where it's a little cooler. Unfortunately, I just haven't had the energy to get it all done yet. But I'm hoping that this week I'll be able to finish up because the temperatures are dropping a little bit. And so with the air conditioner going full blast up here, I can at least make it so that I don't feel like I'm about to pass out from heat exhaustion, but it's still uncomfortably warm, at least for me. But then I'm one of those guys that likes it cooler than I should. So, I don't really have a topic. I apologize. I'm just too tired to have done anything. I did watch the new Fantastic Four trailer like just a couple of minutes ago, and I like it. I'm looking forward to the movie. I don't care what all the, woke police are saying about it. It looks like it's going to be a good movie to me, but we'll see. So, Signed Book Collector says, looks up him first. Matthew says, congrats to that. Miss Moneypenny is here and says, grandkids are here. Well, hi to the grandkids if they're listening, although they shouldn't be listening because sometimes we talk about things that are definitely not grandkid appropriate. Stanley says, has a cool down down south. Yes and no. It is cooler. I don't know what it is right now, but let's see. I mean, because yesterday was just brutal. Right now, it's... No, that's not right. Let me go get the current temperature. Yeah, I guess it's 77, but that's because we had some recent rain to bring down the temperature. The real field temperature, because of all the humidity, is about 86. And the temperature is rising, but it may rain again within the next 60 minutes. That's one thing about Tennessee. When we get frequent showers during the day, it can help keep the temperature down. But when they say that real feel is 86, they ain't joking. It is so humid. So, yeah. It was even crazy in Canada last week. Igloos are melting. Flood warnings. Robert says, hello there. Yes, the heat here in the south has been miserable. It absolutely has. Signed Book Collector says about 85. Yeah, it says 86 is what it feels like, but the actual temperature is 77. But that might just be where I'm at in Walter Hill. I don't know about where you're at, Signed Book Collector. I don't remember what part of town you're in. It's also 86 in North Carolina. But the last few days, it's been in the mid to upper 90s with a real feel. Like Tuesday's real fuel temperature was well over 110. So it was crazy. Hot and humid there too, says Matthew. And all the crypto Superman scenes. I have not seen any new footage from Superman yet. I am looking for, I will tell you, I already have my tickets for both Superman and Fantastic Four. I am looking forward to both of them. On the movie front, the wife and I went, because, we have that little subscription pass thing where you just get to see all the movies. So this last Friday, we went to see Megan 2.0. And I will say this. It's an entertaining movie, and you get exactly what's in the trailer. So it's, unlike the first Megan, it's not like a horror comedy. It's more of an action comedy. But it's pretty good. Trek Reviewer says, hi, how you doing, buddy? Crypto has been in or a topic of almost every trailer. Well, you know what? I am all for crypto. Not the currency, the dog. Because I think that Gunn has the right idea, even though I'm sad that Gunn is no longer going to be working on the MCU. But I think he's got the right idea with DC to just embrace the cheese. Go full on, this is what the comic books show, this is what we're going to do. And, I mean, because, some people say Marvel did that, but even Marvel held back, right? At least until it's funny, because we have Fantastic Four and Superman coming up back to back here, 2 weeks apart. Superman comes out July 11th and Fantastic Four on the 24th. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with the box office. But these two movies look to be two of the most comic book accurate films I've ever seen. The fact that in the Superman movie, it feels like Superman is just in the DC universe. It doesn't feel like the movie version of the DC universe. It just feels like the DC universe. The fact that we have Crypto, who we've never had before, and all these other random characters that look accurate. Like, when I saw Guy Gardner Green Lantern, I immediately recognized Guy Gardner. I didn't even see that it was Nathan Fillion. I just saw Guy Gardner Green Lantern. That's how you do it. You embrace that cheese. And with Fantastic Four, the fact that not only, obviously the main characters are pretty much accurate, except that Reed has that mustache because Pedro Pascal has some kind of contract where he has to have a mustache no matter what he does. But although I know there are different iterations of Mr. Fantastic with facial hair. I don't remember if he ever just had a mustache. I know he had a beard and mustache for a while. I prefer the clean shaven Reed, but that's just me. But at any rate, but all the characters look to me to be more comic accurate than in previous iterations of the Fantastic Four. Not to mention a comic book accurate Galactus. Not to mention Herbie the freaking robot. All right, and all the crazy, cheesy inventions that Reed makes. So I think that this is going to be a fun movie. I know a lot of people are concerned about wokishness, but I don't know. We'll see. Robert says 91 degrees there in his area in North Carolina or South Carolina. Crypto helped Superman in the very first trailer. Yes, and I'm all for it. Like I said, I want more Crypto. You know what? I know they've tried to do like cartoons with the Super Pets, and that didn't work out and stuff. But as far as doing a comic book accurate Crypto in a Superman movie, I am 100% down. Let's see him fighting alongside. Yeah, I remember that. Let's see, 15. Let's see, another. Miss Moneypenny, just so you know, you probably shouldn't give out your exact location on the internet. I mean, I know you're a sweet, innocent lady, but, there are bad people out there, like Stan Lee. Or, not here, right? Yeah, Mike Richards from Columbus, Ohio. You got to watch out for him. All right. Also, Lex Luthor trailer where he flipped it. And I think that I can't remember the actor's name. I know he was in the X-Men movies and stuff. But I think he looks to me like he's going to be a good Lex Luthor. He may be the best Lex Luthor we've had in film. So hot that a robin had to blow on its worm before it ate it. Matthew's now giving out his exact location because this is just the doxing channel now. Gorilla says, Kabah from Tornado Central. I'll be listening as I sweep and mop. I was going to head to the Canby to help clean up from their 6 tornado warnings, but with the 10 to 12 inches of rain, closed all the auto roads. Man, you've been getting it hard this year, Gorilla. Maybe you should change your name to Gorilla's Tornado Whirlwind Thoughts or something. Crypto might be a bigger element of the movie than I expected. I hope so. I mean, think about it. If you have a dog that is from Krypton, so you have a dog with all the powers of a Kryptonian. Come on, you got to use that. Which area are you going to? The one of Stones River Mall? Yes, that's the one my wife and I go to. Because they have good reserved seating. And it's a nice enough theater. I know a couple of the managers. They're good people. So, yeah, I have no complaints about that theater. But, yeah, AMC Stones River. Robert, so if you're ever at the AMC Stones River, Friday afternoons or evenings, you just might see me and the wife going to see our weekly movie. Solitary, I came up with it the other day with an interesting versus battle. The Blob versus the Thing. Would there be a winner in that battle either? If you're talking about the Blob as in the Blob from the X-Men comics, the guy that can adjust his mass and can't really be hurt. Well, you can pretty much predict Blob versus Thing by looking at Blob's mini encounters with characters like Colossus. Colossus, I don't believe is quite as strong as the Thing, but still, he's up there. And the thing is that it's kind of a stalemate because the Thing can't hurt the Blob. No matter how hard he punches him and everything, he's not going to hurt the Blob. At the same time, the Blob can't really hurt the Thing either. He's not tough enough. And so neither of them can take down the other. So I would have to say that one's an honest to goodness stalemate. Whoever gets tired out first, which probably be the Blob. Because I don't think that you can come up with any kind of definitive way that one could beat the other. Most of the time when the Blob is on the scene, what he's vulnerable to is things like fire-based attacks, cold-based attacks, stuff like that. Stuff that isn't just raw physical kinetic energy. Stan Lee says, and notice he doesn't even have Superman use any profanity. Not yet. He says, what the hey? I won't even say how. If that's how they stick to it, I'm all for it. Superman should be an overgrown Boy Scout, truth, justice, and the American way, the whole thing. My autocorrect one says heal instead of hell. Yeah, likes to do that. Let's see, make sure that wasn't anything important. Stanley says, Pedro DVD shaved the mustache for Wonder Woman. It's DVD. Pedro did shave the mustache for Wonder Woman 2. And Wonder Woman 2 was an absolute disaster. I mean, think about that. The one time Pedro Pascal shaves his mustache for a movie, it was the crappiest movie he was in. So, think about that. Carl says, even when I try to say it, did you all see the news story on Boston Channel 25 where Iron Man appeared to fall from the sky? I did not. Let's see. Daniel says the latest Fantastic Four trailer looked good. Yeah, I think it looks great. And I don't, I know people are bitching about the female Silver Surfer. You know what? I'm sorry, guys. Put in a tampon and get over it. That's all I can say. The guy who wasn't Dracula. I'm not sure what you mean. Stanley French for some reason. Just wondering what the origin story they're using. Did he arrive on Earth in a capsule with the dog, and whoever Supergirl is, does she show up? I did hear Supergirl will be in this movie. As far as Krypto's origin, yeah, they haven't really said. The problem that you run into, I mean, because Krypto looks pretty young in the trailers. Looks like, just a pup. And so if Krypto is a young dog, couldn't have come in the capsule with Clark. But, you never know. Maybe Krypto's, embryo is being stored in the Fortress of Solitude or something. And Robert says, no, the horror movie Blob versus John Carpenter's The Thing. Okay. So the horror movie Blob versus John Carpenter's The Thing. Let's look at that for a minute. John Carpenter's Thing is basically, the way we look at it, it's basically a macroscopic viral infection. So whatever the Thing's DNA comes into contact with as far as other DNA, it replicates it and becomes that thing, effectively taking over the body of the original eventually. And The Blob, of course, is a gelatinous mass, and there are two versions of the Blob movie, but the basics are the same. It's a gelatinous mass that absorbs and dissolves anything that it comes into, any organic tissue that it comes into direct contact with. So it basically steamrolls over you and then digests you. That's all. It is like the Blob is just a gelatinous digestive system that's mobile. So if you're looking at the two of them fighting each other, I think the Blob. And you know what? You know what's another thing that's kind of interesting. They kind of have opposite weaknesses, if you will. The Blob's only real weakness is extreme cold. The Blob can be frozen. Now, the thing can be frozen, but freezing the thing, well, actually, it's kind of funny. Freezing both of them doesn't really kill them, it just puts them in stasis. The only way that we saw to actually destroy the thing was with fire. The Blob, they never destroyed. They tried all sorts of things from chemical, fire, bullets, you name it. Nothing worked on the Blob, but they finally ended up just freezing it and then putting it up on the North Pole. But then you run into the problem of what happens when the polar ice caps eventually melt. Well, then the Blob will be loose again. But, so based on what we know, I'm going to have to give it to the Blob because there's no evidence that the thing's viral attack would work on a creature like the Blob that instantly would start disintegrating that viral infection as it tried to take over. So there'd be no way, even if the thing eventually infected every living being and even every living creature on the planet, they couldn't, in essence, harm the Blob, and the Blob would just eventually steamroll over all of them. The only possible escape path would be to be in an area where it would be so cold that it would freeze the Blob, but then it would freeze the thing as well. Carl says, love you people, God bless you, gotta run. All right, take it easy. You probably said that a while ago, but yeah. Does Blob also have super strength, which he would need to move his master? I think he has limited super strength, but it's nowhere at the same level as that thing. And yeah, Blob was Steve McQueen. There's also, I can't remember the name of the actor that was the lead in the second Blob movie. But I like both of them. I'm glad Superman isn't invincible in the new film. He actually takes damage. The animated series of Superman who wasn't all powerful, and it helped make the stories a lot more interesting. I would agree with that, Spike, and you can mostly thank sorry, sinus is a little crazy. A writer, artist named John Byrne for that. John Byrne, if you haven't read it, it's if you like comic books at all, if you haven't read it, it's worth a read. John Byrne did a run of Superman in the late 1980s, well, mid, it's like 1986, I think, run of Superman called The Man of Steel. And in the first issue of Man of Steel, they basically reboot the whole story. But they did drastically reduce his powers. This is also where they changed Lex Luthor from a mad scientist to a businessman. And they did a lot of interesting stories, like his first meeting with Batman, which was really interesting. So, highly recommend John Byrne's Man of Steel. Pedro is like Samson, just with the Mustang. I think you're right. The Blob from 1988, one of my favorite movies. That's the remake. Yeah, I thought it was a good movie. And I remember it was kind of freaky when you saw that person dissolving inside of it. Yes, the 88 Blob movie was a great remake. Yeah, there aren't too many good remakes like that. A 30-something Steve McQueen playing the teenager in the original Blob movie, though. Yeah. Well, that was par for the course back then. I mean, like, look at Star Trek. Look at Charles Evans in Charlie X in Star Trek. I don't remember how old the actor was. I think he was in his 20s. But he was supposed to be 17, you know. Man of Steel run had some great covers. Absolutely did. and had some genuinely good stories. Like one thing that I like is like Superman's hubris was actually his biggest weakness. You know, there was this dude that was shooting up a bowling alley, and Superman shows up, and he grabs a hostage and he points his gun at the hostage. And Superman says, ha 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 ha, don't you know that before you could even squeeze that trigger, I could fly across that room and take the gun from your hand? And the thing is, Superman shouldn't have told him this, he should have just done it. But instead, he gives the guy a minute, and so then he points the gun at Superman. He says, well, who says I was going to shoot her? And then Superman's like, ha, 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 what are you going to do? And he shoots him, and the problem was that it was a kryptonite bullet. So it kind of messed him up. Sorry, I must have missed if you answered, but there have been a bunch of different Superman. Have there been a bunch of different Superman arrival stories? Well, there's been some alternate universe stuff, like, you know, what's it called, Red Dawn or whatever it is, where Superman lands in Russia instead of Kansas. But for the most part, the story is pretty consistently Jor-El puts Kal-El in a spaceship to escape the dying Krypton and ends up on the Kent farm. That really doesn't change much in most of the iterations of Superman. "1978 movie, he's alone in the capsule." That is true. But in this new universe, we have Crypto, and Gunn says they've already shot a Supergirl movie. I don't know that they've already shot the movie. I know they were talking about a Supergirl movie. I don't watch a lot of behind the scenes stuff because I don't care. I mean, I'll be honest. I'll watch trailers, like the new Fantastic Four trailer when it drops. I'll watch that kind of stuff because I do like seeing the footage and kind of trying to figure out what's going on. But as far as listening to actors, producers, directors talk, I hate it because most of the time they are lying to you. And I don't want to listen to someone tell me how great this movie is for women or non-binary or whatever when that's not even a part of the story. And they just say that in order to placate people, certain groups. And you see that all the time. And then what happens? The woke police out there, like Nerdrotic and his gang, start getting all over it, saying how this is going to be the worst movie ever because woke, woke, woke. Oh my gosh, it's so bad because they promote women. And then the movie comes out and it really doesn't do it that much. And so you're like, oh, well, so I guess it's not that. But the damage has already been done. And so I'm sorry. I refuse to call people like Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker and all these guys, they're not fans anymore. They're leeches. They're vultures. They are, scavengers trying to pick at anything they can to get one more click, to get one more view. And it's just sickening to me. Do they all show up together? No, usually Supergirl shows up later. Though will there ever be a sequel to Brightburn? I doubt it, but I would love to see one. For those of you that don't know, Brightburn is it's not an official Superman Elseworld story, but it should be, where basically you have a character that is very much, the story is almost identical to Superman, except that he's like a homicidal maniac. And so as a little kid, he starts killing people with his superpowers. And someone suggested the Silver Surfer sounds like Leela. Not sure what you mean. Leela from what? From Futurama? Or from something else? was that recent one about Bad Baby Superman. I don't know anything about Bad Baby Superman. Hey, I'm actually caught up in the chat, so I may wrap up quickly on this one. Oh, Ilia from Star Trek The Motion Picture. Let me see if I go to where she talks. All right, here we go. Yeah, I can kind of see because it's got a similar, like, distortion vibe to it. Brightburn, though, was also James Gunn, just written by his brother Brian Gunn and Mark. I didn't realize that. I haven't seen Brightburn in a long time. Bright as a reverb. Yeah, it's. I don't think it's the reverb. I think that there's a hint of distortion and like a flange effect to it. That's what's doing it. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Yes, the vocal processing on it. But still, goodness. No official full view of Galactus. Still looking forward to that. But Galactus looks huge, so that's a good thing. All right, anything else before I wrap up today? Because I'm just so dang tired. Going once, going twice. Any Independence Day plans? Drive for Uber. That's my plan. No, I don't have any Independence Day plans whatsoever. I just don't have time for such festivities. So whenever possible, I'm going to take Sundays off from driving just to relax and do the live stream for a while and then spend time with the wife. But other than that, I don't have time off, so to speak. At least not until I get these bills under control. Going to the hospital really threw a monkey wrench and everything, and then I just got a $20,000 hospital bill. Fortunately, hasn't been processed through Medicare and stuff yet, but yeah. $20,000 for a 4-day stay, and the food wasn't even that good. Go figure.